What's up, guys? This is going to be the last video I make before vacation, so this is probably going to be the only video for the next week or two. But I figured I'd do a quick little ranking here on these conspiracy theories based off of how believable they are. So we have from it's real, meaning, this is realistically true, all the way down to idiot to believe. So very not true, I guess. I've kind of been on a bender with conspiracy theory videos recently, especially with flat Earth and the moon landing. I don't really typically believe in conspiracy theories, but I have seen a lot of them, so I figured I can rank them at least a little bit, and I think it'd be pretty fun to do. I'm just gonna jump right in here, and let's start with the moon landing. So, from a lot of things that I've heard, and there's gonna be some conspiracy theories I have more info on than others, but from what I've heard, the moon landing would have been harder to fake than it would have been to actually just go to the moon at the time. So a lot of the evidence you kind of hear for the moon landing being faked is essentially like, oh, why would we go to the moon? Like, why haven't we been back to the moon? The flag, like even in the picture, you can kind of see it here. Like, why is the flag flying? And all sort of things like that. But each one has kind of like an effective counterclaim to them. Like the flag is like that, like it looks like it's blowing in the wind because there are metal pipes in there, so that's kind of why it's like strung out like that versus hanging down. And also we haven't gone back because like there isn't really a real purpose or need to go back. So like why would we go back to the moon? It's just a bunch of desolate wasteland pretty much. And a few other bits of evidence that aren't against the moon landing, but are kind of there to provide that like we actually did go there is the full lighting. Like as you can see, it's all one kind of shade there. That would have been really hard to do, especially at the time. And there's just it's all just a belief like we didn't go there because we couldn't or something like that. And usually people who believe the moon landing was fake also believe in a bunch of other conspiracy theories like flat earth, which we'll talk about in a minute. But to end off the moon landing being fake, I'm gonna put it in not real. I'm not gonna put it in idiot to believe because, you know, with a lot of these conspiracy theories, at least, you kind of have to suspend your disbelief to believe them. But if you didn't really research the moon landing and you're just kind of hearing someone talk about why the moon landing was fake, I can kind of see why, oh, I can kind of believe that the moon landing isn't real. But like, if you do even like the slightest amount of digging, you can figure out very quickly that the moon landing actually did happen. Next, we have aliens exist. Now, I don't really know what that's supposed to mean necessarily, but I'm gonna take a little bit of a creative liberty here and say that that means that we have intelligent aliens visiting us either once or twice, or they are like on the planet. Looking at the image here, it says Area 51 and there's a flying saucer, so that's kind of what I think. I don't think it's really dumb to think that aliens exist, even if it's just like microbes or whatever. So strictly talking on intelligent aliens have visited us. I'm gonna say that that's pretty unlikely. I think if intelligent aliens did visit us, for one, how wouldn't we know? Like, there's so many like UFO videos out there, and none of them are like actual clean, clear images or videos of the UFOs. Or and UFO doesn't need like it has to be a flying saucer. A UFO can be like anything. It could be any kind of spacecraft or whatever the aliens might have made in their dungeon or wherever else they could have lived. But I just and it's like where would they go like to where no one else would be able to see them? You're telling me that they're like talking to the U.S. government, only going to military bases and like cloaking themselves or something. To me, it's just like you kind of want to think that because it's like it would be cool maybe that aliens exist and would visit us, but there's literally like no evidence to go on. So I'm gonna put it in an idiot to believe, just because of the fact that like, and again, strictly talking about intelligent aliens visiting us, not some asteroid with microbial life or aliens existing elsewhere outside of the planet. If intelligent aliens came to Earth, I feel like it'd be so obvious. Like, there'd be so many different signs, or if they are actively coming here, which this image at least depicts, we would know. Like more people would know. You know, it's not like there's many areas that they would go, especially if they're talking to the government or whatever, that the average person wouldn't be able to see. Now, this is the first conspiracy theory that I guess has some sort of truth to it, I guess. Dead internet theory. Essentially, what the dead internet theory is that like when you're online on the internet, you're not really talking to a like you're not talking to real people or anything like that. It's all bots. Um, I kind of I not necessarily that I believe this, but I believe there is a statistic that like over 50% of like traffic on the internet is bots. Um, but I think dead internet theory as a whole is maybe a little overblown just because of the fact that like there are definitely still a lot of real people on the internet, and I feel like what bots are doing and like what the definition of traffic is, I don't know off the top of my head. But like in most places where you'd see human activity, maybe there's a bunch of bots in like a YouTube comment section or whatever. But like if you're watching people actually post things or do things, and even if you see AI generated content, it could still be an actual person managing the account. So I don't really think that like in the sense that you are like one of the only people left on the internet that's actually a real person. I would say that that's unlikely. So I'm going to put it in unlikely because to a certain degree it's true, but I feel like there is still an absolute plentiful amount of people on the internet, and it's not like there's really any shortage of actual human conversation. Like you could go on servers like Discord servers or like Reddit threads and stuff like that. Like those are definitely real people talking to you. I would be really surprised if they were bots, but I think there's definitely an element of truth to it. But it is unlikely that you are like the only person on the internet or something like that. I feel like chemtrails is kind of more of a niche conspiracy theory. I believe from at least the quick little Google search I did, what that is supposed to mean is that's the government flying various chemicals in the air and is trying to do something with them. I'm pretty sure the theory varies from person to person who believes this, like, oh, they're putting chemicals in the air to kill us, or oh, they're putting chemicals in the air to do something or make us think this or do that. Um, it's just like kind of stupid to believe in because let's take away from the fact that like why would the government do it through the air? Like they could put stuff in the water or the food. Like why would they fly it over a plane in such an obvious like visible way? Like that would attract way more attention than doing something super discreet. And not all chemicals are bad for you. First of all, like fluoride in the water is not a terrible thing for you in most cases. But like there's it's just so like you could do a quick Google search and find out like it's just like crystallized like water vapor and stuff, and it's nothing harmful at all. And if you wanted to go the route of like, oh, they're pumping harmful gases into the air, you could like every car that isn't an electric car also does that. So it's like there are so many chemicals, and the word chemical isn't even a bad thing. Like there are chemicals in your food. Everything is made of chemicals. Water is a chemical. Like just because it's a quote unquote chemical doesn't mean it's bad for you. And I'm assuming at least in this instance they would try and go for like the chemical's bad for you, but like it, why would they do it that way? Let's just play with the idea that they would want to put chemicals to harm all of us. For what reason? So we can, I don't know, all pay more medical bills or something like that. Why would they do it through planes? Why wouldn't they? Not everyone is like in a high traffic area with where planes fly over. Why wouldn't they, I don't know, put something in the water or the food or something like that? Like that just doesn't really make any sense to me. Um, I feel like I wouldn't say it's an idiot to believe just because of the fact that like it is technically a trail of chemicals. I mean, but in the sense of the government putting chemicals in there to harm you, it's just not real because again, any amount of research you can find out what it is. But I mean, maybe you hear someone talking about it and it's like, well, this could be true, but really it's not believable at all. All you got to do is a quick Google search, not even to look up if it's real or not, just to look up what like the chemical trail is. That's all you got to do. Now, 9/11 was an inside job is very interesting because I think now I guess I should get out of the way now. I am not a professional in any of these topics. I'm just kind of giving my general opinion. So don't take whatever I'm saying as like true or not because truthfully I wasn't there and I'm not like a scientist or whatever. But for this one specifically, I think it's unlikely. I don't think the 9/11 was an inside job actually has a lot of grounds to it, but I mean, there's a chance that maybe the owner of the towers knew that it happened. Like there are some coincidences, maybe, but I'm gonna play I'm gonna play the side of it wasn't just to kind of, I don't know, give you what I think personally. If you think it was, I'd be interested to hear why. But a lot of the kind of topics I hear is like, well, why would the towers collapse if they were built for plane impact, and they saw explosions multiple floors below where the plane collapsed and stuff like that. And jet fuel doesn't bend steel beams, or doesn't melt steel beams and stuff like that. That's kind of a lot of the common things that I guess I can kind of counter. For one, when they say that towers were built for plane crashes, they were built for smaller planes, not giant like jumbo jets, passenger airlines flying into them with, by the way, a bunch of fuel. Like the planes were supposed to fly way across the country and before they were hijacked, and then they just kind of reversed course and came back and hit the towers with more fuel than was needed. So there was a lot of fuel, which kind of explains the explosion, because they crash into a building. There's going to be multiple floors where the, I don't know, parts of the plane go through and fire ignites and all that kind of stuff. Um, I remember they say this that jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, but you know, if you've ever seen any footage of 9/11, you'd know that planes flew into the building, which you know, would bend the steel beams and would make sense to why that would happen. I believe one other thing that is talked about when talking about 9/11 as an inside job is that, like, I don't know if it's this one in the picture. It's kind of hard to see, but there was another building that collapsed, and they said that why would that collapse if no plane hit it, and why was it like on fire and stuff like that. Well, that was because the two giant buildings right next to it fell right next to it with a bunch of burning debris and caused the ground to be unstable and the foundations of the building to be unstable. It's kind of common sense. Now, and one more thing, I'm very jumble minded at this specific one, but there was like prior attack attempts on the towers. I believe like a decade earlier there was like a car bombing in the basement by like the same group. But anyway, the idea of like the government knowing, to me, is very unlikely, because what do they have to get from this? Like, I know maybe some money went missing before or something like that, but like, what do the towers have to do with anything? Like, if they really wanted to have something like an excuse to go to war or whatever, why wouldn't, like, specifically the Twin Towers? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. It was probably just a terrorist group. Now, the only thing I would say is potentially possible is maybe the owner of the towers knew, but I would say it's very unlikely. I'm gonna put it on the same tier as like the dead internet theory, just because it's definitely harder than a simple Google search. I think you definitely have to have some intelligence to really decipher, and you kind of have to like know a few things. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think you have to be exactly super smart to know that this probably wasn't an inside job, but like there was definitely no controlled detonations, or the government didn't have bombs in there or anything like that. Like, I feel like that's a little outrageous to say. That's why I'm putting it there. But it's definitely a little more believable than the moon landing and like the chemtrails and aliens exist. Just if you believe it and you've seen videos talking about why it wouldn't be, and you still believe it, maybe you're a little dumb. But you know. Flat Earth is a really, really fun conspiracy theory to like talk about, at least for me, because I have the most knowledge on like why the Earth isn't flat. Um, there are I'm surprised that there's actually even people that think that the Earth is flat. Like, I think it is like the absolute like bottom of the barrel, easiest to disprove. You could disprove it yourself. Conspiracy theory. If there are any flat earthers that watch this video and are like, I don't know, angry or whatever, I would actually be more than happy to have a conversation on why you think the Earth is flat. Um, I'm not gonna insult the people who believe this, but a lot of people say that the Earth is flat because the government is trying to hide it from us for some reason, for power. And a lot of people think like, oh well, the ocean always finds it's level, and that's why the water doesn't flow down, is because there's like a giant ice wall, and on a globe it would just fall off. But it's just like, if you have even like an inkling of intelligence in your mind, you would know that that just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, if there are other circular planets like the sun or the moon. Why don't they fall down to Earth? Like, why are they in orbit? Because a lot of people think that the Earth and or not the Earth, sorry, the sun and the moon rotate around the Earth. Why don't they fall down? The sun's just made of a bunch of plasma and gas and stuff. Why wouldn't that fall down? And a lot of people who believe in flat Earth also think like they can't go into space and also believe the moon landing was fake. So it's kind of like a double there. If you believe one, you're more likely to believe the other. But again, you can literally disprove it yourself. Like if you've ever been to the beach, you can see a ship disappear bottom up because they're going over the horizon. Now, I'm not going to do an in detailed description because again, I do actually have some of the knowledge of why Earth isn't flat. It is really common sense, but like actual like science points. If you want me to do a specific video talking about flat Earth, then I will do that. Just comment it. I'll respond so I know. But the Earth is definitely not flat, and not to spend too much time on specifically flat Earth. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you're an idiot if you believe that the Earth is flat because it is literally you can prove it wrong yourself. Like you can go outside to the ocean and see the Earth's curvature with boats, and there are power lines that go into the water, and you can see them slowly dip over, and you can see part of a city but not the very bottom. Like it is just so easy. Like you shouldn't think that the Earth is flat by default. You kind of, if you have any knowledge and you want to know anything about the Earth, you kind of have to accept that it's a globe. Otherwise, almost nothing works whatsoever. This next one here, Lost Civilization, I'm not actually very knowledgeable on. I'm assuming this is talking about like an Atlantis situation, like the lost city of Atlantis. Um, I don't really think that there's like I've actually never seen anyone kind of defending that like this. There is a real lost city or whatever lost civilization like that thing says. Um, I'm gonna just put it in not real because if it was real, I feel like that'd be an important discovery. Well, if it's lost, then it's not found, so there wouldn't be the discovery. But like, it's kind of hard for a whole civilization to just go missing, like Egypt or like ancient Rome levels of civilizations. Is there probably small settlements and towns, maybe even like a tribe, like tribal nation or whatever that's gone missing, and there's just no sign of them left? Yeah, probably. But I feel like people who believe this conspiracy also believes that like the civilization is still findable. Like it's not just lost to time. It's like you can still go out in the water and find the lost city of Atlantis in like some underwater cave or something like that. And I'm just gonna say it's completely not real because like maybe you want to have that belief. I'm not gonna put it an idiot to believe, but like we as a species have mapped so much of like the ocean floor and especially land. If you think it's missing on land, that's crazy because we've we pretty much know almost all of our land and we've mapped sonar on the ocean. So if there was any buildings or any remnants of a truly gigantic civilization or city that we haven't found, we would have found it with all of our modern tools and technology. I just don't see why that would be a very popular theory, and it probably isn't because I actually haven't seen it talked about a lot. But I would probably say that it's not real at all. I think you have a better chance of the dead internet theory and 9/11 was an inside job than there's a just completely lost civilization somewhere in the water, or even worse, just somewhere on a random island or something like that. This next one was a theory for, I guess, maybe a while, but phones listening to you is really not even a theory. I'm just kind of using a pre-made list here. Phones listening to you, I'm not going to throw it immediately. It's real. If you want to try, this is one of those things you can try it yourself. If there's something, let's just say there's something you want to buy. Let's say it's like some shoes, like a specific brand of shoes, or let's just say like it's any product, clothing, food, whatever you want. Just like talk to like, you could just talk to yourself with your phone near you. Like I have my phone near me right here. Just say a bunch of random like a product you want. Like say, oh, I really want a bunch of tennis balls for my dog. Oh, I could really go for some tennis balls, and say it like for an extended period of time, like a minute, and then all the ads you'd get on like YouTube or like just on the browser on your phone in general, it'll be completely directed towards you. This is not a conspiracy theory at all. I have seen this firsthand. Your phone does listen to you. I don't even think that the companies themselves or like the FBI is trying to hide it anymore. It's just not even a theory. You could try it yourself if you don't believe me. Just think of a product, talk about the product, talk about how you want the product, how you've been looking for the product, talk about it for like a minute. I'm telling you, you will find targeted ads because of the fact that you said that. It is very, very much true, and again, you can try it out yourself, I promise. The JFK cover-up is a fairly interesting conspiracy theory. It definitely happened a lot longer ago than like a 9/11 was an inside job. There's a lot more like mystery around that one, at least for me personally. Um, what was interesting, at least in terms of it being a possibility, is that the president didn't have Secret Service at the time, like directly like hired Secret Service that wasn't like the CIA or FBI or whatever, something like that. At least I think. Again, if I am wrong about something, you can fact check me and prove me wrong. I don't claim that anything I'm saying is absolute fact with 100% certainty. I am going off the dome, but I believe that it was like the CIA kind of driving him in the car. They also was like a simulation put up or like a game to try and replicate the shot that hit multiple people, and they couldn't do it. Like they genuinely couldn't replicate it in perfectly simulated, like right there at the moment, like time. Like they couldn't do it. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people tried, and they couldn't get that perfect shot. And well, I feel like the JFK cover-up theory, at least kind of the way I'm going, is that something is amiss. So maybe it wasn't necessarily the CIA that covered him. Like maybe it was more than one shooter or whatever. So I'm just going off of like what was directly told to us. There was one dude who shot and killed a few people, and well, not killed a few people, killed the president, injured a few other people. I feel like that isn't necessarily entirely impossible, but I also know there was a few other shady things. Like I think the files on it kind of burned right before trial. Like I think they were taking the CIA to trial. Maybe it was FBI. I don't really remember off the top of my head. But there is a little bit of actually shady stuff, and maybe someone who's like an actual expert on like the time period and who's actually studied this would know better than I am. Could tell me, and I would be absolutely open to change my opinion on it. But right now, I think it is a possibility that in some way or another it was covered up, whether there was multiple shooters or some government influence in it. Because I know the government wasn't too fond of JFK. Again, I am not an absolute like expert, especially on this one. That's a little more iffy for me, but I'm gonna just say it's possible. I don't know if it's 100% certain, but it is possible that in some way or another something was different than what actually happened and was said. So I'm gonna leave it there for now. Celebrity cults is the next one. I don't really like this one just because it's like it's so broad. Like there are famous people who've been in a cult before, and there is like I don't know people who do things like you have the free will to do this. Like, but if I had to guess what this one in particular meant, it would be that the celebrity like if you're just like a celebrity in general, you're a part of this like celebrity cult and whatever. Um, I'm just gonna throw this in not real, just because of the fact that like there's no proof. Like, at least that I know of, there's no proof, and I don't really want to harbor on this one just because I, it's just such a broad. It's so broad. Like, maybe there's some celebrities in a cult, or maybe some celebrities are in a celebrity cult, but like, is every celebrity in the celebrity cult? No. Like, how do you define a celebrity? Does it like include people of political power? And to me, it's just like it just doesn't make sense. Like, if you want to believe it, I guess you can, but it's just like probably not real. I don't know why it would be. Time travel pictures are, I guess, pictures that were taken of people that like look like time travelers. Like maybe their fashion looks different than other people at the time or whatever. Um, I don't even really know where to start with this one. It's kind of another dumb one, but why would they time travel dressed slightly differently and then just be in a picture? Like, and why aren't there like we don't think that people who dress like people from like the 1600s or 1700s in pictures today are time travelers from back then, and people who dress up as like a far future person are time travelers. Why would someone who I guess just so conveniently dressed that slightly looks like the attire we wear today be a time traveler? Like it's just like it's so stupid to me because why wouldn't people want to dress up and look cool and different? Like you've never seen someone wear like a Halloween costume and take a picture? Do you think that I don't know Like if they look like Iron Man, they're from the future and they actually have like a metal suit on. Like, are people in the future gonna really think that? I probably not. So why would you think that people back then, with whatever they had on that kind of looks like what we wear today, be any different at all? It's not real. If time travel was possible and actually things were happening, they would not. The only evidence we would have of it would not be them going back and taking old pictures with clothing that looks slightly like what we wear today. Big Brother is, I'm guessing, at least like a mass surveillance system. Like the government's always watching you and always tracking you. Um, I'm gonna just throw it in. It's real. Now, maybe not to a Big Brother extent necessarily, but there are a lot of things. Like if you live in the U.S., flock cameras, like the police do use those, and there are a lot of cameras, whether it be ring cameras, surveillance cameras, CCTV, all that kind of thing. And they can even use data from just like your everyday person recording themselves in public and posting it online. Like there is so many video and picture evidence of just like people out and about all the time. Now, is the government necessarily tracking everyone at all times? I would say no, but like if you do something that they would have to track you, I would say that they probably have the ability to do that, and they can do that through, like, again, your phone. Like they can track where you were. Kind of goes back to the phones listening to you, so it's very similar there. There are cameras, ring doorbells, traffic, like cameras that take pictures, CCTV and stuff like that. Like there is just so much stuff everywhere, and the government can request and access it if they want to, even if you delete it. So yeah, I would say it's real. Like if the government wanted to find where you went, they probably could. Now, are they just figuring out and tracking where you are at all moments? Probably not, because if I'm being honest, that's just a big waste of time for everyone in the government tracking everybody. But if you did something to where they would have to, they probably could. So I'm going to put it in it's real. Next is globalist elites. Now, what I think this means is there's just like a small group of people that run the world. I actually think that there's a chance, although a small chance, that this is possible. I mean, it's true if you look at it like the presidents of the countries, like that's already like 100, 200 people who are that group that pretty much own and run the world. But if there's a secret group of people that, like, I don't know, run the countries, run the people who run the countries, I kind of doubt that. But I'm gonna put it in it's possible only because of the fact that, like, yeah, like the known politicians do who run the countries probably do run the world, because they run the countries, and the countries are where all the people are. So I mean, it makes sense. But if we're talking about there being some anonymous group of people that run the entire world, I'm gonna put that in not real, just because of the fact that there's no evidence, and if you just kind of want to believe a claim blindly, uh, that's just like that's it's you can say anything, and if there's no evidence, then and you want to believe it, you can literally say anything and get away with it. But if we're talking about the presidents and the owners, well, not owners, but people who run countries, who run the world, yeah, I mean that makes sense. So I'm gonna put it in as possible. So for our last conspiracy theory, we have on the tier list, we have simulation. Um, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, we don't live in a real world. We live in some, like, I guess, on like a computer or device that's running the whole entire world. Like maybe you're the only real person and everyone else is like bots or whatever. And this is just another one of those things. Is there any evidence for it? Absolutely not. So we can't know. Like we just don't know. So I'm gonna put it in not real, because I don't know. I'd pay the first person that can come to me with actual real proof that we're in a simulation. And if you can't, like everyone else can't, then I'm gonna leave it at not real, and I'm gonna just call it there. I would even put it like, the reason I'm keeping it above aliens that exist and flat Earth is just because these two are provably wrong. Like you can literally like look it up and see for yourself that these aren't true. For something like this, there's just like no data on it at all. So I'm just gonna put it in not real because there's absolutely zero evidence on it whatsoever. But yeah, that's the end of the tier list here. I'm pretty happy with how things are. I think this all, for the most part, makes sense. Um, the only thing I will say is that I am, once again, not a professional whatsoever. So maybe if you know more info on the JFK cover up or the 9/11 inside job than I do, and are a professional and have done your research that isn't just Google searching or whatever, I'm open to change what I believe on this. Again, I don't claim to be uh, fluent in knowing all of this stuff. So if there's real hard evidence that I haven't seen, that will change my mind. I am not hard stuck in this way. But for right now, I am pretty happy with how this turned out. So I hope you stuck around the whole video. One final little thing. I said it in the beginning, so I'll say it at the end as well. I am going on vacation, so this is probably the last upload that you'll see for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at the absolute latest. So yeah, I mean, I hope I hope you enjoyed the video. I did just want to make this because I enjoy hearing people who believe conspiracy theories, and I also really like hearing people disprove conspiracy theories, especially like flat Earth and the moon landing and stuff like that. Like something you could really just prove it completely wrong. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment. Again, I'm completely open to doing a flat Earth video specifically and getting into a bunch of detail on that. I'm happy with getting into a conversation about any of these conspiracy theories for the most part. If you want to debate it, that'd be pretty fun. Anyway, I'm not going to drag this video anymore. If you liked, you did. If you didn't, I don't know why you're still here. Anyway, subscribe. I'll see you guys.